Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me this evening, Luana Hodges, YBC Youth Building Conversation. This evening, I am sitting down with my soror, Lady LaSean Shelton. How are you doing this evening?
Miraculously blessed, favored, and excited to be here with you, so I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, thank you. Likewise, likewise, likewise.
Thank
So
you.
before we get started, I want you to pray us in. And
Okay.
then I'm gonna let him, yes, yes, pray us in.
All
Highly
right.
blessed,
All right.
highly favored.
All
Yes,
right.
pray us in. And
Got it.
let us move from there.
All right, so we're gonna bow our heads, even though we're virtual, we're still collectively together. God, we just ask that you be in this space with us right now. Calm our hearts and our minds. Allow the words and the meditation and the growth that's going to be spoken about during this interview hit every ear that you intended to hit. We just ask that you continue to bless this show. YBC, my soror Lowana is doing her thing, and I'm so proud of her. So God, enlarge her territory, right? Give her that Jezebel strength, that prayer Jabez, where you tell us that you are going to enlarge our territory because of our faith. And we know faith without works is dead. And because she is exercising her faith with humility, trust, and love, she is going to go far with this. So we just ask that you watch over her, watch over this show. Bless those who are homeless, bless those who are picking up, bless those who just needs to hear your voice and don't understand it at this particular point. All the things that we ask for right now, we say thank you and amen because we know it has already been heard and it is blessed. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. So just let me, I'm gonna tell you how we know each other. Del
Okay.
State, DSU, in the house.
On it.
Delaware State, and we met, wow. It have to be over 25 years.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, yeah, about 20 some odd years. Oh my
20,
God.
26 years
Yes.
ago. We was
Uh-huh.
online together.
Mm.
Went through a lot of things together. Not gonna
Yes.
close all that, but
Mm-hmm.
got into a great organization, Zeta Phi Beta Incorporated. Um,
Yes. The
big up
best.
to all our sorors out there that's doing their thing,
Yes. Yes.
especially at Del State. A lot
Yes.
of them has gone to do great things and many things in our community for our kids. And I'm looking forward to homecoming so I can talk to those so they can be on my platform
Girl.
as well.
Yes.
And I can't exempt Phi Beta Sigma as well, Phi Beta Sigma Incorporated
Okay.
as well. Our big brothers, they out doing a lot of great things in the community as well. But we
Yes.
here to talk about LaSean Shelton because it's a lot of things that she does that I didn't even know that she did, and a lot of businesses that she's involved in. I was reading your bio, and I was like, wow, I don't even know where to start. I mean, and and it took me a couple of days to come up. Normally, I can boom pray about it. I God, give me the vision, the questions, and I was like, oh my goodness, because your bio. I mean, I didn't know where to start. So, in saying that, I'm going to let you tell my viewers who is LaSean Shelton.
Oh my God. First off, I just want to say I love you, Anna, because the platform that you have for these babies is absolutely needed. And I wish there was a YBC when I was going through what I went through. So, I'm from Jamaica, Queens, New York, born and raised, come from an amazing family. Shout out to my parents, even though my mom is not physically here, but I know she's here with me. I come from, my story is not really unique. I come from a great family. It's called the Blackberry Bunch because we used to eat together, pray together, go places together, travel together. Whenever you saw us, you saw us together. And I wanted to go to the University of Hawaii or FAMU or some crazy school, right? My dad was like, listen, from Virginia to Connecticut, those are your choices. So I was like, okay, Howard. And initially, Howard denied me. And I was devastated. I wanted to go in for the School of Journalism. They were like, no. So he said, what about Del State? I'm like, well, where's that? He was like, in Delaware. And I'm like, where is that? And he's like, please don't tell anybody that you don't know where Delaware is. I'm like, where is it? Right. So he said, I went there when I was younger and I'm going to take you there. So I went And when I went, it was where the Qs were crossing, the Alphas were crossing, and I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I want to go here. I want to go here. I'm watching everybody out there. And I mean, my mouth was just open, right? So then I come back, I sent my commitment to Del State, and then Howard accepted me for biochemistry. And I didn't understand that you could switch your major in college. It just didn't comprehend that you could do that. So I went to Del State, I became a cheerleader. Like the status quo stuff. I was a cheerleader. Shout out to my line sister Regina, who kept her grades up when I got kicked off the squad because my grades sucked. Right? My grades were horrible. My parents was like, "What in the heck is going on?" And I was on academic probation my first year. Got caught up in a relationship. I wish we could change that last letter P to another letter, but anyway. And the domestic violence started there. He wouldn't let me go to class because he knew there were guys in the class who liked me. He knew there were guys that were trying to woo me. And I won't say this individual's name, but he would literally follow me to class, fight the guys that looked at me to the point where I just stopped going to class and I almost failed out. So my parents was like, listen, we're going to give you one more shot at this, right? If you get anything under a 2.5, we're snagging your tail out of there and you're going to a community college. We're not paying all this money for school for you to be out there showing your butt off, right? So this time, I was kind of like a witness protection where I had people walking me to class, but this individual started putting his hands on me, started threatening my family. Made it very difficult to really buy well in school and matriculate to the knowledge I deserved. So my keyboard instructor, she used to like literally drive me back to the dorm to keep me from this person. And miraculously, I did well that semester. And then following year, I met Luana, pledged the best sorority in the entire world. And it just went on from there. I had a great college year. After that, I ended up getting like a 3.2 and my grades just kept going up and moved off campus, graduated with child because I got married my birthday right before school started. My parents thought I was crazy. They thought I was crazy. So I'm in play production. I'm doing my thing with child. And yeah, I gave birth to my son. He was a preemie. They said he wasn't going to live, but God. And I got into modeling and acting. And when I got into modeling acting, I did really, really well. I met Halle Berry and Sinead Latham and oh my God, what's that child's name? Oprah Winfrey, Tom Selleck. I met all these people in the movies and films and Malik Yoba. I did Law and Order. I did all this stuff and it was fun. And then a divorce came. And then that's when life took a dramatic turn for me. So life was good up until like that 6 years of craziness. And I got myself together and here I am, went from social work to find out what caused me to go off the grid the way I did. And I became a teacher and now I'm a financial planner. So
wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. Wait a minute. I didn't know. Wait, see, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know you was an actor. I didn't know none of that.
Yeah. Dr. Kenyatta, God bless his soul, he pushed me to it because I was in play production. I needed another elective, and someone said, "Take play production." Mark Stevens. He said, "Take play production. It's an easy A." And I'm like, "All right, bet." So I thought it was going to be behind the scenes doing the curtains. Dr. Kenyatta was like, "We need you up front," and I had the lead role from my sophomore year to graduation. Pardon me. I'm getting over a really bad allergy cold. And then I was with the traveling troupe. We went to like Vermont and Jersey and all this other stuff together doing plays. So he said, "You really need to do this professionally." And I'm like, "How?" And he was like, "You'll figure it out." So I went to the backstage and I started auditioning for non-SAG roles, extra roles. And I landed a few spots on Law and Order, on New York Undercover. I was a regular. And then there was this movie called, oh my God. Oh God. It was with the grandmother from Family Matters. It's going to hit me. The Hereafter, and it was about when the rapture came, right? And I had to leave. I actually beat Salma Hayek for that role, but then I did some stupid stuff and ended up losing that role. But yeah, I got into acting and modeling. My friend sent me some reels I did before, and I'm like, oh my God, I had a waistline back then. My dad still has some tapes. Every now and then, order will come on, and my kids will bring everybody to the neighborhood. Look at my mom. That's my mom right there. And they look at me, they look at
Wow.
that, and I'm like, yeah, that was me like 3 kids ago. So,
Wow. That
yeah.
is, that's amazing. Now, okay, so now I understand now your
Mhm.
platform.
Yes, yes.
Because when I was reading your bio, I was like, okay, so how did I knew the LaSean at Dell State, right?
Uh,
But of course, I left. Y'all stayed, but it was like, how did she go all these platforms? Like, and then I
how?
read, yeah, we gonna get into that. So I always wonder right now we're kind of I'm not gonna say getting over COVID-19, but we
Uh-huh.
working our way through.
Uh-huh.
Slowly but surely opening back up with the effects of COVID-19. So, how did COVID-19 affect you personally, spiritually, and professionally?
Girl, let's start with the easy one. Professionally, it was awesome, right? Because as an educator, we were out of school. And when I became a financial planner, it was great money because we did everything through Zoom. So it really helped me um, with dealing with the emotional and psychological and spiritual part. The spiritual part, I was mad at God for a minute, actually hated God for a minute. I was so angry at him because COVID left like 18 seats that I personally knew open for holidays that we'll never see again. Um, Emotionally, it broke me because, you know, and I'm just really able to talk about it without breaking down. My favorite aunt in the whole world, right? My aunt Emma, that was my girl, and that's my mom's oldest sister. When my mom passed away, she was like, "Well, it's me and you again, kid." And because my mom was getting her nursing degree, right? She was freshly divorced. I was a little girl, like a year and a half old, 2 years old, and my mother couldn't do nursing school and her clinicals and her internship and her externship with me in tow. So my Aunt Emma had me all the time. I'm talking like everywhere you saw me, you saw my Aunt Emma. And she used to call me Nut Nut because I used to drive her crazy. And we will, I mean, oh my God, I can't think of anyone who's tighter than their aunt than she and I were. Whenever when I played the violin, my mother's like, go to Emma's house to show her how you play the violin. When I started playing the saxophone, go to Emma's house, you can show her the saxophone. I mean, we were like this inseparable. So, like I said, when my mom unfortunately passed away, she was like, "Well, you and me again, girl." And we were inseparable. We would visit each other, and whenever she said, "Let's go to the casino," that meant we need to talk, right? So when she went to have a procedure done, she said, "You know, I don't think I'm going to come home." And I was like, "I'm gonna stop talking like that." And she was like, "I don't know, Shawn. I have a weird feeling that this is the last time I'm gonna be in this bathroom." And she had the amputation done. She had diabetes, and she had to have the instep amputated. And because of the infection, it went up to her knee, so they had to take it from her knee down. Yeah. So it's all good. She was making jokes, call me stubby, and now you would take my shoes, that kind of stuff. And the nursing home they put her in was like this bootleg one that she never heard of, but they said it was all right because the one she would have gone to when she had the first amputation, they were booked. So they sent her to this one, and she's like, I don't really like it here. Everybody's coughing. Everybody seems like they're sick. Nobody really talks here. And I'm like, Emma, can you go somewhere else? She was like, there's nowhere else to go, baby. So you wearing your mask? She was like, I don't have a mask. And I'm like, okay, well, just be careful. And I remember calling her, and I hear all these other voices. Emma, how many people in your room? She always 8 of us in here. So one day I call her. She had this terrible watery cough. And I'm like, Emma, are you all right? And she's like, I don't know. I think I have pneumonia or something. I have a fever. And I have this cough. And I was like, oh my God, my aunt has COVID. And I just saw her wither away in front of my eyes. And we lost her April 15th at 10:35. And that I was so irate, like, God, why would you take her from me now? Like, why? And yeah, COVID was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Friends that are gone, some with and some because of COVID, some without. I have family members who had COVID, 13 family members who had COVID, and they're not the same because of it, either needing inhalers, They have to carry oxygen. They're always winded. There's like always something that's going on with them that is a direct result of COVID. So I despise that word. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. That's more than a lot. I mean, that is wow. Yeah. COVID wasn't kind to a lot of family members and a lot of, you know, people out here. So
Right.
I'm just praying that your family is getting back to.
Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
But in saying that, with all of your obstacles, you still maneuvered through. You still here today, but you do have a powerful story to make you the
Yes.
woman that you are today, that you can
Yes.
actually sit and talk about and teach others how to get through what you went through. Can you just share a little bit?
Absolutely. So I'll never forget Marco, who was my agent, right? Hold on, let me switch seats because now everybody want to walk around in the house. Nobody was walking before, now they want to walk around. So my agent, his name was Marco, and he used to always find like the best gigs for me. I'm talking about like the best. And I remember one day he said to me, "How much you love me?" And I'm like, "Marco, you're like the best agent in the world." He said, "Better than Angela?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Better than Stefan?" I'm like, "Yeah, why? Why?" He said, "Hold on, let me get a better spot." There we go. So I said, "Why? What happened?" And he said, "What if I told you that I got you booked to become a Knicks cheerleader?" And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "I know how much you love Grant Hill, and I can't get you on the Pistons cheerleading squad, but because you have a history with cheerleading, I could get you on the Knicks cheer dance squad." But it was still called the cheer squad, but now it's a dance squad. And he said, "All you have to do is just show up." I'm like, "That's it?" He says, "Show up, do something cute. You're already on the roster. All you need to do is bring an ID, and that's it." I said, "Okay." So we had this whole thing planned. I was gonna wear my overalls. Remember, like the overalls were big, right? I was gonna wear my overalls. I was gonna wear my, cause I was working Hooters. I was gonna wear my little orange Hooter shorts, and I had a Knicks jersey. I was gonna put like the little You remember I used to work at Hooters in college?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And I had a little cut off Knicks shirt,
yeah.
right, with Patrick Ewing's number on it. And I had the whole routine. I was going to do like the little round off, the little extension split, back, back turn, back walk over, split. And then when I got up, I was going to take the overalls off and have my little Knicks shirt and my skirt, right? I mean, my little shorts, right? Had the whole, all this stuff done, right? Ready. And that was the same day, the night before my ex-father-in-law introduced me to cocaine. I had no idea what cocaine was in my life. I never seen it in real life. I didn't know what it was. You could have said, "I'll give you $1,000,000 to pick out cocaine, flour, sugar, and dirt," and I would never have known what it was, right? So how it went down was he had like a mound of it on the table. I mean, it looked like it was a huge mound. And I'm like, "What the heck?" So my son, he was like, my AJ, he was like one at the time. And I remember he kept playing in it. And I'm like, "Oh my God, there's flour all over the place." I thought it was flour. So I get the Windex and clean. They're like, "No, what are you doing?" So I see them like, push me out the way and putting it in this bottle. And they started doing something that turned to a rock. And I'm like, "What are they doing? Like, what the heck? What kind of freaking sorcery was that?" Right? Had no idea what they were doing. So I was telling how nervous I was. And they said, "Well, here, take this. I never smoked weed before either." So they
Right.
would, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. Me and one of my sons, I'm not going to say his name, but he's from Brooklyn. He's an alpha. That was the first time I smoked weed before we graduated. But anyway, shout out to you, he's still my best friend, right? So he was like, "This is weed." I'm like, "Why does it smell like this?" He said, "It has goober dust." I'm like, "What's goober dust?" He said, "Just trust me." So I'm smoking it and my mouth is numb and I'm sweating. I'm like, "What the heck?" I'll never forget. Janet comes out. I was like, "Gene, why did you do that to her? What are you doing?" And he was like, "Huh?" And he was like, "She got the money." And she was like, "Why did you do that to that baby?" Why did you do that? And I'm like, what's going on? So then I fell asleep and I woke up and then I see them using a stem, it was like a glass pipe. And I'm like, "Well, what's that? I want to see what that is." Right. And then she was like, "Baby, please don't do this. It's the worst thing you could ever do." And I'm like, "Well, what is it?" He says, "The same thing you just did, except instead of it being in the in a Black and Mild, it's through a glass. And I was like, okay, I want to try it. Dumb move. So now I'm trying it. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. And I went downstairs in the basement, practicing my routine, making sure my hair flew and all this other stuff. And then around 12 o'clock, they're upstairs partying, music, listening to Rick James and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go to sleep. I went upstairs. Now they have like this freaking golf ball size thing in there. They're cutting it up and they're smoking. So he said, you want to chill with us? And I'm like, you know what? F it. I was up till 5 a.m. smoking freebase with them, not even knowing what I was doing. And I was so paranoid, I missed my next appointment. I missed the appointment.
Wow.
Marco cursed me out. He took me from Law and Order. He took me off of New York Undercover. He took me off the movie I did. He was like, "We're gonna pay you for that Turkish hair commercial, and you're off my roster." And now I'm devastated. Like, what am I gonna do for money? Like you took my money. I was like a steady $2,000 a month, and that was in the 90s. I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, I don't know what you're doing and how you're doing it. He said, but you blew the biggest gig and made me look stupid. You're fired. He fired me. So now I'm depressed. So I go back and I was like, well, I want to do that again and make me feel better. And it just turned into a spiral of craziness. I went home to see my parents. My mother was like, what is wrong? She told me, she never showed me the picture. She took a picture. She said, broke her heart. She said, if I was 80 pounds, it was a miracle. And I'm lying, talking about, I'm trying to lose weight for a gig. And I was like, she looks great. She was like, her clothes are hanging off her. She looks like a scarecrow. So my parents had an idea, but they couldn't prove it, right? So I move out of my father-in-law's house. I come back home to my mother's house. I'm doing better. I'm putting my weight back on. I got into a relationship with this dude. I was happy. And then then what happened? I'm trying to think of chronological how it happened, right? Oh, so Andre, it was Andre. So then I bump into my father-in-law of all places, and then he was like, you want to hang out with us? And I was like, all right. So we hung out again, broke up with Andre. I took the money for our house and went and got high with it. And Andre broke up with me. Then I bumped into my high school sweetheart. He and I were together, hard body. He told my mom I'm going to propose to her. I'm not going to lose her again. Bought me the ring, bought me a Bronco. Life is good. I ended up losing his car and everything because of drugs. And then my father-in-law was mad that this guy was proposing to me because he knew he was going to take me away from him, right? Because my father-in-law also liked me, and I didn't know that, right?
Oh.
So he invited him to the house. He said, come to 13427 St. Albans, to pick up Sean. He left the door open and he watched me get high, and he just stood there like, oh my God. And the reason that pissed him off because his mother got high. So he went to my house. My mother said, I don't know what you did to him. He took the ring. He took all the Christmas gifts that he hid for his nieces and nephews and said, Mrs. James, Mr. James, I wish it could have worked out, but I'm out. I can't be with your daughter anymore, and left. And my mother said, what did you do to him? And later on, I told him what happened. So it just went down. It went down from there. I ended up going to Harlem to see my cousin, got lost, and stayed stuck in Harlem in the Bronx for 6 years. And it was a blur. I don't even remember half the stuff I went through, except for being stabbed with machetes and dragged down steps and all kinds of craziness that comes with that street life. And I was like, I've got to get out of this, but how? How did I even get here? Living in abandoned buildings and stealing food because I was too ashamed to go back home to my parents. And then finally, I ended up getting arrested for some stupidness. And the judge was like, you're going to get 25 years. I'm like, for what? I was 25 years. What did I do? Come to find out, the house that I got arrested in the walls were guns, kilos of drugs, bodies in the floor. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know that? So my lawyer got me out. They put me in a program, found out I was pregnant, and I've been clean ever since. It'll be 19 years, July 26th of this year. I've never went back out. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so many things I left out on purpose, how I met certain celebrities and how I know certain celebrities. And I used to tell my mom, Mom, I hung out with Gil Scott-Heron. They were like, do you know what he's known for? Or Mom, I was with Cedric Hodges. And they were like, oh, he got kicked off the NBA because of this. Or I was with Calvin Henderson. They were like, he got kicked off the Redskins because of this. Or I was with, DMX, Earl. They were like, but isn't he every celebrity I told him I was hanging out with, one of the Isley brothers, Bobby Womack, they were like, this girl's doing something out there she has no business doing because everyone she's talking about all got in trouble or outed because of drugs. So that's how they put two and two together.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
And as her sorority, we did not know.
I hid it from everybody. I would not let
We
anybody
didn't
know.
know.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. I hid it so because I was like so ashamed of myself, and two, when you're in an organization, people judge you, people look at you like, oh, you did that, and they start looking at you funny. And I just didn't know how. I didn't know people to be like, oh my God, girl, how can I help? Or and she thought she was all that back then. That's what she gets. So I didn't know what the end story was, so I didn't tell anybody. I hid it from anybody. My brother went to Del State, and they were like, where's your sister? He was like, oh, she's studying abroad. Oh, she's still acting, and that's how that went. But he never told anybody.
Wow. So do you think that everything you went through, that you went through it, that God allowed you to go through it for a time as today?
I didn't want to admit it. My dad told me that. I was like, I told him one day, I said, I feel so bad that I lost 6 years of my life. I could have been, acting with Hallie, or I could have been on a show. And he was like, yeah, all that superficial that came out anyway. He said, but God had to put you through that to help you with other people. And he was like, you don't see how you're helping other people with your story? And I'm like, no, no. And then until people start telling me, like, I would never have known you went through that, and just your testimony alone helped me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I started seeing it after that. And then when my dad said to me, I'm more proud of you than when you got all your degrees and when you got these jobs. He's like, I'm more proud of you now than I was then. And that's what made me say, like, wow, okay, maybe he's on to something. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So you always been in kind of business for yourself.
Yeah.
Since you was small, younger.
Yes.
But how did you really become? How did you start becoming into your own as an entrepreneur, finding your own way?
Child, that'll be a whole new show. So, when I was little, I used to sell stuff. Like my cousins would tell you, I would soak straws and like mustard and vinegar, and talk about if you attach it to your hair will grow. People give me $5 for it, and they were like, my hair grew 5 inches. Look, and I'm like, yeah. My cousins listen. They'll be like, girl, that girl can sell water to a whale. My dad and my grandmother were entrepreneurs. My grandmother owned almost all of Northwest DC. And she also had a candy store. And I thought that she was making money from the candy store. I didn't know she owned real estate. My dad owned a business too. He was a private investigator. So I've always had that entrepreneurial blood, but I didn't know it. So I've always did things like Mary Kay and Amway and Zamzu. So I started a travel agency. Travel agency was booming. I was on my way to making 6 figures, and I hired somebody. Huge conundrum. I ended up getting arrested for something I didn't even do, but I had to take the rap because it was my agency. I'm like, how do you get arrested while in recovery? Like, what the heck? Like, how does that happen? Girl, I had people talking about, we're gonna kill you, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? So I had to pay back $24,000 for something I didn't even do. But because it was my agency and because I was over it, nobody wants to hear, oh, you had somebody else. So I had investigators banging at my door, asking questions. I had to turn myself in. And I'm like, for what? I had my face all in the newspaper. And I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is horrible. People call me like, girl, you all on the news? And I'm like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. So I didn't want to be an entrepreneur no more, right? They said it was going to be hard, but they didn't say it was going to be that. So then I was like, I'm not working for myself ever again. No. I'm gonna get a regular job. So I got a job at True Green because nobody wanted to hire me because I had a job. But when that stuff got out, they fired me. They used some other excuse, but they got rid of me. So I got a job at True Green, making really good money, but they didn't tell me it was seasonal. So on top of it being seasonal, I've never been fired from a job, right? So I got fired from the first job. Then I got another job, and because I couldn't get back and forth on time, I lost that job because it was a different county. Then I got a job at True Green, and it was seasonal. Then I got a car accident the same night that we got seasonally laid off. So I said, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? So I wrote a book called Congratulations, You Just Lost Your Job. I had a bunch of other entrepreneurs, and that got me into speaking gigs. I'm like, oh, that's what you're saying. So I started doing speaking gigs and getting paid for that. And it was going really well, shared stage with like Les Brown and Lucinda Cross and Cheryl Woods and all of them, right? And then the relationship I thought I was in, he was like, you gotta stop this because you don't have no time for me. And if I can't speak, you can't speak. You know, that kind of crap. I can't do it, you can't either. You know, that stuff. So me trying to be, engaged because I wanted to be married so bad at that time. I was like, okay. So I stopped speaking like an idiot. Had I not stopped speaking, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, if you're with someone and they tell you to stop doing something you love, you don't need to be with them. Someone said to me, you would have been a six-figure speaker right now because some of the ones who are speaking right now are taking all your material. Yeah. So I had to get back on the horse. I wrote another book, and that one was How My Lifestyle Changed, told on myself in the whole book so no one else could. Right. And that hit bestseller internationally first, and it did here. And I got more speaking engagements, and I started doing. I've been podcasting since 2008, but it really elevated once that happened, and I've just been doing it since then. So now I'm a speaker, financial planner, and finishing up this other book, my fourth book. So that's what happened.
So God been looking at you like, yeah, okay, I'm telling you, but you still not listening.
Like, hello. You're in the wrong industry. This is not what I want you to do. I'm gonna embarrass the heck out of you so your tail can listen to me. And I'm talking like I cut my locks off, I shaved my head. So people didn't know. They're like, aren't you the girl? I'm like, I could have kept my locks for that. But yeah, it was humiliating. Like Star Wars was like, yeah, it was just horrible. That was the worst feeling ever. I would have felt better if they found out that I was using. You know what I mean? Like that was the worst feeling ever. I didn't want to use my name. I went by LaSean Shelton for like 6 years, and he took me out that space and was like, "Listen, man, you gotta own it." And do something with it. And because of that, someone else was like, girl, I had a catastrophic situation too. How did you get past it? I'm like, I prayed, I meditated, I cried, I was on my back, I had to get picked up. And she was like, you don't understand, you saved me from like killing myself. I'm like, what? Oh my God. I had to go through all that muck and crap for someone had to lose their life. Okay, I'll take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So do you feel right now that you're operating in your purpose completely?
No. I think there's more I have to discover. This lady, she says that she keeps telling me that the ancestors are telling her that I need to do stuff with women, working with women who've been through what I went through and teach them what I'm doing. And I heard that like 5 different times. I said, you know what? Okay, God, I'm going to do it. And, like Earl said, if it takes for me to suffer for my brother to see the light, give me pain till I die. I feel that that's what he's doing because every time I veer away from that, something happens. So I'm like, okay, I'm listening. Let me put my head back this way, go this way. And I think that once I get it, like still doing what I'm doing, but focus more on bringing more women up who've been through what I went through, either ex-offender, ex-addict, domestic violence, homeless, something in that realm, and get them to where they need, dust them off and be like, all right, next, next. You too, sis. Come on, next. So.
Well, that's amazing that you said that because I have a young lady, my girlfriend, my tribe queen. We have a nonprofit together, but she has her own nonprofit, and she deals with women. And I told her, I said, I need you to watch my interview this evening because I think the young lady that I'm interviewing will be an asset, and maybe you guys can collab together. So I know she's watching because she's always supporting me. She's the Preaker, Georgette Littlejohn. So I'm gonna make sure you guys. I'm gonna make sure you guys connect.
Okay.
Because I didn't know that you was going to say that. That's where God is steering you. I didn't know that. I know you have a huge platform because when I went on your platform, I was like, oh my God, all these people follow. So I know you have a huge platform in what you're doing. But I did tell her to watch my to watch the interview. But in saying that, what would if you can go back to your younger self, what would your older self tell your younger self?
Don't date him. Keep cheering and get your grades up and shatter those ceilings. I would have said that. And don't listen to people. I was in love with this dude and I broke up with him because he was white. And I let people, influence me with that. And I really think he was my soulmate. And I listened to everybody else but myself. And I regretted that too. Not because he was white, but because we were just so in tune with each other. And would you believe we both went through the same exact thing during the same exact time?
Wow. 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 Yes. So who's your mentor? Who covers you?
Wow. I have a couple. Kevin Washington. I love you, Kevin. I love you, Kevin. Kevin Washington is like my biggest cheerleader, my biggest mentor. I know usually women have women for mentors, but he's just like tough as nails. Like, listen, get out your mess, get up and do what you got to do. Also, my girlfriend, Tanya Reynolds, we help each other, but she thinks I'm her mentor, but she's more like mine. And she doesn't even realize it because like when I start feeling sorry for myself, I think about what she goes through every day with dialysis and all this other stuff. And she picks up and go. And I'm sitting there like, I have a headache. And I'm like, girl, get your butt up and do what you got to do, So it was hard to find someone else after my aunt passed away because she was my mentor. Like I said, she was my everything. And the lesson learned from that was, even though you love someone, you have to spread it. You have to spread it. So that's something I'm learning right now. But definitely, hands down, Kevin Washington is my biggest mentor. And then Tanya Reynolds.
Amen. Amen. Yes. So now we're about to wrap up because I know you have another platform. This is how busy. You can catch it. You can catch her live every evening. Okay, every evening. Oh, okay. Nice. Well, who is that? He came in the camera, so now I'm about to get nosy. I'm about to get nosy now. So who is that?
Now that has never happened before during the interview. Say hi.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. That was nice. What you just did
has never happened before. I'm like, what is he saying? Oh, thank you.
That's nice. That's nice.
He's so sweet.
That's nice. Even though you kiss many frogs, right? And then they turn into prince. You kiss that frog, he turns into a prince. Girl, I'm just saying.
I need to hear that. I need to hear that. Yes, I need to hear that.
Well, how can my followers, how can my viewers follow you? Because you have a lot of platforms. You have a lot of platforms that you're on. And you're doing a lot of things. And we didn't even get into the literacy that you do for the youth. You also do the financial literacy for youth.
Yes. Listen. Oh my God. I love empowering babies so they can learn how to keep their money straight. Because I spent. My parents, you remember my parents would send money and I'm like, I need more. And it became an addiction. So I teach the babies how to basically save and prepare for retirement before they even get to middle school. So if you have children that are learning how to learn the money game right now, please get with me. Parents, if you do not have life insurance, please, I am begging you. If you hear anything else I said on this interview, I am begging you, it behooves you to get life insurance and investments for your kids. Like I tell parents that are pregnant, who cares about the baby shower? They're going to outgrow those onesies. They're going to poop in those Pampers, and they're going to drink all the milk. Get your friends and family to put $50, $100, $25 in a mutual fund for those babies. So by the time that they are 21, they won't have to pay for college at all. And they will have a huge lump sum of money sitting there waiting for them. I'm talking about 6 figures waiting for them. Now, would you prefer a onesie that's going to get soiled or 6 figures when they're 21? Yeah. Stuff that we should have learned, but we didn't know. And it wasn't our parents didn't like us. They didn't know. They didn't know the money game, right? So I try to tell people, like, this is the money game, and this is what you need to do, because if you don't do it, we're going to keep recycling the same bull crap. Stop opening bank accounts. Stop opening savings accounts for your kids. Stop putting money in your CDs for your kids. Get your kids Roth IRAs. Get your kids a mutual fund. I promise you, you will thank me later. I swear. If you don't remember anything else, remember that. But best of all, moms, dads, get life insurance, term life insurance, not whole life, term, because you do not need life insurance for your whole life. You just need it until you can maintain the lifestyle that you're living if you or the breadwinner passes away in the household. So they're not left holding the bag and have to minimize how they're living. So that's what I teach people. So definitely, Lawan, this is something I'm dying to partner with you with, so we can empower our communities, because our communities don't know. Right. They don't know. And we're on GoFundMe like it's okay. We need to normalize wealth building, estate planning. So that's my biggest thing. And I think that's what God's trying to lead me to have more parents and more moms not worry about these daggone baby showers. They're cute with the little ribbons and balloons and boom. Okay, that's beautiful. Let's have some money coming out that thing instead. So that's my biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? Your kids will thank you later.
Yes.
Well, thank you later. So I'm sorry. So how they can find me?
Yes.
They can find me on LinkedIn as Miss Shelton. I have one platform name for everything, but of course Instagram was hating and Facebook was hating. I was due for a blue check and they shut my account down at the start over from scratch. So on Instagram, I'm under Coach Sean Renique. That's what it looks like right there. Coach. Oh, you can't see it, can you? There you
go. Nobody can see that. But what we're gonna do, what you're gonna do is once you finish this interview, you're gonna come back in underneath. You're gonna put all your handles because you have
all my stuff.
Yes, because you have too much for me to put in. I'm just being real. I'm being real. Okay, and I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I'm gonna come back and do it," because I'm not. So you're gonna do all of that.
Hilarious. I'm gonna put my website.
Yes, we're gonna have to because.
Hi, Georgette. I didn't see her thing.
Yes. I'll get ready to pull it up. She was like, "Yes, LaSean, I love you." Yes, she's been watching. She's been watching. That's who I need you to. That's who I need you to click with.
Absolutely, sis. Yes. And you could if my website has everything. LaSeanShelton.com. LASEAN. Well, it's right there. LaSean Shelton. Just put a .com under that, and that's how you can find me online. And I'm on Haps, and my sorrow will help you out. But I'm just so grateful that you allowed me to come on your platform. I really am. I love what you are doing. I'm like so warm and fuzzy right now.
Thank you. I'm glad that you came on. I'm learning so much about you, and it's great. And just to see that, wow.
Do we need to get back online again?
Wow. Just to say, wow, like to know you from college, and then all what you went through, and then all the hands you linked with. I mean, wow. Wow.
It's a grace that I'm alive. It's a blessing I'm alive. Yeah. I mean, seriously, like I could think of at least 5 situations that, if it wasn't for God, I would not be here. I'm talking like gun to my head, machete. My ex stabbed me with machete because I left him and he found me and dragged down like 8 flights of stairs through my hair. That's why I used to keep my hair short, because at the time my hair was long enough where they could wrap it in his hand and pull me down. And I was like, I will never let a man do that again. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna grow my locks out in homage to my mother, and I'll be damned if another man grabs me by my hair and drags me down some steps or do anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad I ain't what I looked like before, where I would have bit you in your neck and kicked you down the stairs.
God's grace.
God's grace.
But yes, we do have to partner up.
Yes.
With the financial literacy. We do have to do that for our youth.
Yes.
I'll get in contact with you tomorrow, especially for my kids as well, because the program you was telling me about is awesome. So please, guys, make sure you follow her. She's gonna come back in and put down all her information. I believe you're going live every day. You doing a segment. So what is today's segment that you're talking about?
Today it was today Thursday. So today is Two Tip Thursday, where I'm talking about 2 tips to help you with financial literacy. I'm about to drag you into this too. It's an 84-day video challenge. We had to go live every single day for 84 days, uninterrupted. I had no voice yesterday, but I was whispering, and then you gotta do so and so. Derek was like, "You're crazy. You can't even talk. You can't even stand up straight." I had like a 3-day virus that I thought I had COVID. And I mean, wasn't that horrible? I had a fever. I was like, "Is it the Rona?" No, God, not the Rona, not now. Girl, I had no taste, no smell. I couldn't stand up. I needed fluids, and then come to find out it was seasonal allergies that tried to take me out. So I had one day that was like, sometimes peace is all you need, because I couldn't talk. I still don't have my voice back, but I'm pushing through. So yeah, so tonight is going to be 2 tips on Thursday about financial literacy, and then Friday is Freedom Friday. We're going to talk about something fun.
Okay, awesome. So make sure you come back in so they can follow you.
Absolutely.
I started following you on your YouTube, so I catch your messages and stuff like that. But I just want to say thank you for coming on. Is there any wisdom you would like to leave the youngsters before you hang up? Especially young girls.
Young lady, cherish your flower as long as you can. You can always erase your past and rewrite your future, but you can never get your virginity back. So be careful out there. There are people lurking, people who are looking to hurt you. You know, if it's already happened, just protect yourself and be careful. But always remember, for those of you who think you're not enough, even broken crayons color, and you are enough. All right. So don't let any man tell you that you are not. Okay. Broken crayons color just as beautifully as a whole crayon. And in time, when you erase your past and rewrite your future, you're going to see that self-worth and that value that God put you on this earth to do.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
So in saying that, I want to say thank you for tuning in. YBC Youth Building Conversation. I have 2 more interviews left for June. I will be taking a mental health month in July to get re-geared, restarted for the next couple of months. So July, I will not be on here interviewing, but you will be seeing me, but not interviewing. So in saying that, have a great evening. Love yourself, love God, and know your wealth, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, Sean. Have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.